Hi everyone, welcome to the Homespun Yak. Delayed because of me.
Again.
It usually is because of me though.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. People weren't waiting with bated breath and anticipation. Their only hope in 2020
For
has been this
entertainment.
podcast.
Yeah.
Well, for living, really.
Yeah. Yeah, for living as well.
If I may be so bold as to say.
Maybe. Yeah. How's it going?
Good. Just got the Pfizer vaccine.
Nice. Early, I guess.
Got it early. Well,
yeah.
I'm essential. Obviously. That goes without saying.
Yeah, no, of course.
Trump and myself were the first to get it. But yeah, it was fine. I mean, my whole left side of my body is numb, but I think that's going to wear off eventually.
Well, at least you didn't get Bell's palsy.
Yeah,
Which is what everybody keeps reporting. The 4 people that have gotten Bell's palsy of tens of thousands of people.
Have they been saying that they've gotten it directly because of it, or is
No, they haven't. They specifically said they can't say. It's always weird. Like in science, you say it in a scientific way, and people that aren't trained in understanding how it's phrased, they immediately think that. Yeah, they jump to that, or they just think that scientists are trying to hide a certain thing. Like, because technically, the technical way of saying it is like, there's no clear causative data showing that the vaccine causes Bell's palsy, but obviously, people are like, well, it's not clear. Like, are you saying that there could be a chance or whatever it might be? It's just like you have to have this mini education of how statistics work and how science works and whatnot for people to fully understand. But anyway, it's 4 people out of tens of thousands of people. I mean,
it could be related, maybe not. It just could be they got it, or they were going to get it already.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, and that's the big point. It's there's no evidence saying that they couldn't have gotten it even though they didn't get the vaccine. Like, it could have been independent of the vaccine. That's kind of the big thing. But of course, I understand how it's scary, right? You see 4 people with half their face drooping, and you think, oh shit, like they look like they're having a stroke. Luckily, it is temporary, so it's something that will, it's just an inflamed nerve, so it'll eventually correct itself. Yeah, so it's not a problem. Not a problem.
No big deal. The Mountain from Game of Thrones had it.
Did he?
Or he's got it. I don't know. Because, if you see pictures of him, half of his face is kind of drooped over. And I don't know if it was directly related to, trying to deadlift 1,000 pounds. But, he got it. And, he's the strongest man on earth. So he's a huge inspiration for all Bell's palsy sufferers.
Oh, yeah. I
think Tony Gonzalez had it. Sylvester Stallone.
That leaves
These are all great men.
So the chance, if it's 4 people, let's say out of 30,000, the chance is 0.01% chance that you'll get Bell's palsy. Assuming, of course, that the vaccine. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
it's too high for me.
Yeah. Any bad news, I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
is there a timetable on, the general public, having access to it, or the a flu shot, go to CVS and get it? Is there a time frame on when that might be coming out?
Well, I think they're saying definitely everybody's going to have it by end of next year, fall of next year. But they're saying that I think 100 million people have been vaccinated by spring of next year. So Yeah, I think 100 million people. Also, keep in mind, like the numbers in terms of how many people trust this vaccine. They're so low. Like it's like 60% of people or something like that don't want to get the vaccine.
Wow.
So if it's 100 million people that can get vaccinated by spring, that's essentially all the people that actually want to get the vaccine. So, if
Pretty
you want to
much.
keep not getting the vaccine, cool. That's cool. That's
Yeah.
fine.
It'll be the other 40% will take it
Yeah. Yeah.
straight away.
Yeah. We got Johns Hopkins got several hundred doses, like 900 doses or something like that. So it's like a lottery system here, based on, just random.
Like the initial drops of it, kind of.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And yeah, so far, I mean, we'll see. It's limited obviously to just medical personnel, so I don't get it
Yeah.
yet. But once I can, I will. I'll probably be in with the general population in general.
Yeah. Well, there was a shipment that did fall off a truck. So if you've got $10,000, I can hook you up.
Oh, thanks. Thanks. I appreciate it. Black market
You
edition.
can put a price on your safety.
Yeah. Or just wait this out another 3 months. That's funny because every day, like if that were the case, every day it would be depreciating in value as they just keep cranking out more of these vaccines.
Yeah. Yep. So get in now.
You can either get the Xbox Series X, the PlayStation 5, or the vaccine.
Pick your poison.
Which one's rare? Oh,
I
man.
know. They're all pretty rare right now.
Oh yeah, seriously. Good gracious, especially the PlayStation 5. That's been nuts.
I know. It's kind of surprising. I've heard, I don't know, it just feels like to me that everybody who's like always been PlayStation is like, oh, PS5 is way better than Xbox. I mean, there's no comparison really. But yeah, I just feel like it's a little bit, I mean, I'm sure it goes both ways, but I was talking to Nick Amadeo, and he's on board with getting an Xbox Series X and going all in on the Halo Renaissance with us if we do that next year.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Because he was big into that in his high school days as well, but obviously we didn't know him then. But yeah, so we've got a third. But outside of that, I saw a funny video of Jake Paul, the Paul brothers,
Yep, I know.
calling out Conor McGregor.
Yeah. Insulting his wife. Yeah.
Guy knocks out Nate Robinson, and he's just like, I can beat anybody now.
I don't even think that. I think he just they know that the more publicity they get, like the more ridiculous stuff that they do, the more publicity they get, and the more like subscribers
Money.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, money, exactly. So, and it's not a dumb move to go after Conor McGregor, who totally would
He's
do
done the
something
same
like
thing.
that. Yeah, exactly. He does that kind of stuff too. So yeah. Oh, but I don't know. Did you see the like follow up on that?
No, I don't think so.
So Dana White said it's definitely not going to happen with Conor McGregor, but I would totally do that with Nunes. Was her name
the female?
Amanda Nunes?
Yeah.
Whatever her name is. Yeah. And then she replied, "I'm in." Dude, I would love to see that. I would love to see that. I would not pay for it. I would just wait for the next day. But I would love to see that.
Ooh, yeah, if it was UFC rules, then that would be even more tragic for him, I think.
Oh, absolutely. He would get destroyed. It would be great. Like he might suffer brain damage.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, like because you can use knees and elbows and yeah, get choked out.
Yeah. Yeah. I watched randomly, because you know how YouTube works. It's just sometimes surfaces just the most random shit ever. I was watching this like really obese guy fight this woman in UFC, and I mean, this dude was huge, like 500 pounds, something like that, like absolutely
Just
massive.
morbidly obese.
Morbidly obese, yeah. He could like barely reach her when he was punching and stuff, and yeah, it was interesting. She ended up winning because he just like couldn't.
Tired himself out.
It wasn't even just that. Like he was actually moving around decently well for his size. He just, yeah. I mean, she just like it's like lack of like reach, like not being able to move very well, just because you got so much of you.
Dexterity.
Yeah, exactly. So she just kind of got him. Once she got him down on the ground, it was over. Like she just like pounding on his head, and he just didn't have the strength to move 500 pounds back off the ground plus her her weight.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if it was just a straight up boxing match though, if he wouldn't beat her pretty badly.
He might. Oh, I think probably. Well, I don't know. Maybe she's still like so much faster, but like she couldn't do any like body punches. Like that would like do nothing.
Yeah.
You know. So if she got worn out doing that, I don't know.
Yeah, it's always difficult. I don't know enough about fighting, but
I know everything. Ask me questions.
Okay. All right. Or just like, I don't know, it always leads to like, you know, when you talk about fighting, the female versus male thing, and in fighting or just in sports in general, like, you know, I don't know if we want to even go down this road, but like at what point is it like an equal match? I mean, I feel like Amanda Nunes could beat most men up.
Totally.
But like UFC men that are on her level could probably beat her up. Well, am I wrong in saying
sexist? But
yes. So I don't know. I mean, it's just, we'll probably leave it at that though.
Oh, we don't have to leave it at that. I am perfectly comfortable saying that she would likely get her ass kicked by a man of her equal level,
like Conor McGregor if they fought in MMA.
Yeah, right. Or like, I mean, even if you, well, I guess it would have to be like pound for pound. That makes sense. So yeah, like whoever like weighed in that same category, but just like in the real world, right? Like men just generally are heavier and tend to have more muscle mass, especially in their upper body, than women. That's not a negotiable thing to discuss. Like I'd be happy to annihilate anyone in that argument. But there are genuine.
Well, you'd have a lot of people who would argue you.
Oh, totally.
Today.
As a matter of fact, I know I was having this conversation a little bit like a month ago or something like that, and we were talking with this person I was talking about. They mentioned that there's like a professor who is a professor of like feminism or something like that. It's not anything to do with biology, and they had mentioned that women can be just as muscular as men or something like that, or like whatever it was. There's something in that realm, and I was like, that's just not true at all. Like it's just not. So just the general idea that people have that believe in those kinds of things is just so far-fetched. I won't even entertain it. Like, I'll entertain it with like just an incredible amount of facts on my side just for the fun of it. But it does definitely genuinely scare me that people actually would just.
But I have all the feelings on my side.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have all the feelings on my side. Yeah. But yeah, when it comes to like UFC stuff, I mean, of course, technical ability, all that stuff happens. And like, I think that the best way to run it would be like in like the best out of 10 fights or something like that, or 5 fights or whatever it might be. Because of course you're going to have the anomaly. I'm not saying that a woman can't beat a guy that's of equal level, but the vast majority of the time, the guy is going to beat the girl. It's not because they're not skilled at all.
Due to the physical advantage of being a male.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's just, and of course, if we want to take a step further, we've discussed this a little bit on the podcast before.
Elliot Page.
Yeah, yeah, yes, exactly. So people who are transgender and transition to being from male to female, or from man to woman, man to woman, and then they go in and fight. And like there was that situation in the UFC where, or I don't know if it was like the highest levels of the UFC, or just like some sort of fighting.
It was a different organization.
Yeah, different organization.
Rules.
Right. And they were just kicking like women's asses. Like it was just, but it was never disclosed that this person, I don't know what the proper terms are.
Well, it was let's see, 30 years of this person's life was spent as a male, and then, decided to transition into being a female right after that, and then started fighting in the female division.
Right.
Because now she was a female, and they were like, okay, we don't want to exclude you, I guess. So we'll see how this goes. And it did not go well for her opponents.
No. Some of them had like skull fractures and stuff like that. That's, I don't know what you would call that. Like that's not unfair. Negligence. That's straight up. Like, it's not unfair. I don't know what the word is. Like, I don't know what the word is about that, but it's just this like
uncharted waters.
I'm looking for strong words here, Kyle. It's if we go into our cursing vocabulary, it's complete and utter bullshit. That's what it is. It really is.
It is.
It's stunning.
It completely is. And the fact that someone wouldn't recognize the entire history of this person and say, this might be a problem. Like, we might need to think about this a little bit more before we just throw them in with, biologically female women who've been female their entire life. Yeah. Maybe this person has the advantage of having naturally occurring testosterone for 30 years and what comes along with that, and bone structure, muscle mass, etc., the advantages that presents. Yeah. And then just to say, I'm now a woman, therefore I can compete in woman-only sports, whether it be fighting, weightlifting, or, softball, whatever it is. Then you've got people setting records left and right.
That doesn't tip anyone off.
Yeah, it's just like, well, she's great. You're a bigot if you don't think she's great, because she's great. She's a powerful woman.
Yeah.
With a big old Adam's apple. But
yeah, it's that area of the social justice sphere. I will never. Yeah. I would just never understand.
It's not an easy. It's just not. No matter what people say, it's not a simple yes or no, or a simple answer to like all the questions that this brings about, because it's never really been presented on this level in society before. So it's like that Bill Burr bit where he's talking about Caitlyn Jenner transitioning to Bruce Jenner, and he's like it happened, like you can't say anything or else you're a bigot. He's like, you're just supposed to be He's like, I'm just talking to Caitlin. She leaves, comes back, and as a man, and he's like, so anyway, Bruce, you know, I was saying, like, he's like, I can't have a moment to like mourn Bruce. I want to, like, this guy was my hero as a kid, but like, you don't have a second to ask a question or just like process it, or you're labeled, you know, insensitive or a bigot in some regard.
Yeah.
Which I think it's just a case for the most people, if they're labeled that way, of them just genuinely not understanding fully what's going on.
Right.
But certain parts of society just expects that you accept it, deal with it, and act as if nothing has ever happened, but meanwhile make it the biggest deal of all time by, you know, going on social media and alerting all the press, and then celebrate you for coming out as this new person. But it's not a big deal. You shouldn't make it a big deal. I can, but you can't. So it's like, okay.
Yeah.
And I know we genuinely don't give a shit, but it's just like, it's just odd.
Well, I don't give a shit up until the science. Then I genuinely do give a shit. Like I really
I don't care what you do with yourself or what you decide to become, but that's just, you can't redefine things and that have been set in stone for forever, like the fighting and just the makeup of the human body in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And it's, there's like, obviously there's like different strata of social justice. You know, I mean, we tend to lean more liberal, right? But so we're okay with most of the kind of that first stage, and I'm okay with usually most of the second stage of people that are, you know, more vocal about what they believe. I'm like, okay, cool. And then you've got the delusional stage where people are just like, you summed it up perfectly, but I have the feelings, you know?
Right.
And then it's just like everything goes out the window because that person has the feelings. And that's what I'm just never going to get behind.
No, you can't take those people seriously. And it happens on both sides, you know, not just the social justice, it's the extreme people too. Like they have feelings that Trump is really the president and all this shit like that. And, you know, it can swing both ways. But I think the part that might be a little more scary is the certain aspects of the far left, because mainstream media and society at large is way more willing to give those people a legitimate platform and say, like, we're with you, like we're an ally to your feelings. And like people like, you know, Jimmy Kimmel and all those people are, I don't know, they've just bent the knee to the left so hard.
Oh, really?
I think so.
I haven't kept up with Jimmy Kimmel or anything.
I haven't really either, but he did the Man Show back in the 90s with like Adam Carolla and Joe Rogan was on it for a little bit, like back when it was just like a tiny show on Comedy Central, and it was like, it's called the Man Show, so you can imagine like what was going on. Like, you know, it would not be able to be on a major cable station today. And he did a bit on there where he pretended to be Karl Malone. And
I think I heard a little bit about that.
And then he just, you know, they're like, cancel Jimmy Fallon and like, you need to apologize. And he's like, I'm so sorry for all the people that I heard, and like all this stuff, and cried about it. And I don't know. He'll do whatever the public wants him to do in order to keep making money. So I think money is probably the biggest driver for these huge celebrity personalities to like just stay in the people's good graces, whether or not they truly believe it or not. But Adam Carolla definitely ripped him about it.
For backing down.
For backing down, yeah. He's like, he's got a huge podcast right now as well. But, he's not bought and sold by these corporations that sponsor the Tonight Show and all this other stuff that he has to like be careful for, or else he won't have a career anymore. He makes his own rules. So it's definitely easier for him to say, but then again, he's paved his own way. So it's proven that it can work. So I don't know. It's a very complex issue, and I try not to get overwhelmed by it all. Sometimes I find myself being very cynical about society at large, but then I remember that, most of the noise going on is on social media and in the media in general. Yeah. And although that does have an impact on how people behave, it is pretty much limited to that platform. And that's just simply another reality of life. And, you can choose to live in that reality, and it's certainly real for a lot of people, or you can choose to live in your mind or live in your own physical reality and not let that stuff kind of drag you down. But it's becoming more difficult to do that.
Yeah it is. Yeah,
but well, I don't know, I saw an opinion piece today that people were up in arms about. This guy for the Wall Street Journal, he wrote an op-ed about like the title was like, he's like, you need a doctor in the White House next year. Like, it's not going to be a medical doctor. And it's like talking about Jill Biden, how she's like, I'm going by Dr. Jill. Like officially. And she's got her PhD in
education.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you need to drop the doctor. Like, you need to not be called doctor. And it's just like an old crusty guy who's just like mad probably, but people just absolutely lost their shit. They're like, cancel the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
They need to come out with a formal apology. And if they do all these things, everybody's going to be like, we forgive you and like, we love you now. No, they're going to be like, cancel them, just completely cancel them. First of all, it's an opinion piece. Whether or not it's a good opinion, it doesn't matter. It's not your opinion. So I don't know why people are so upset about it.
That's a good point.
It's just an opinion. It's not the Wall Street Journal going, this is how the Wall Street Journal feels. Like, yeah, they published it and they've obviously read it and they're like, all right, let's throw this out there.
But that's the point of the opinion piece.
Exactly.
Like if you start censoring what the opinion pieces are, then like they're not really much of opinions anymore. Like you're not getting any sort of anything interesting out of it. So
that's the point.
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah. So if some crabby guy wants to say, "Hey, don't call her a doctor," then
yeah, I mean, there's been millions of opinion pieces written about Trump, and no one bats an eye. And I'm not saying that they should or they shouldn't, but it's just like everybody's entitled to have an opinion, and you can have an opinion about how you want to respond to that opinion. But to say like cancel the New York Times and you need to send an apology, it's just like, shut the hell up.
Mm-hmm.
Just move on. Don't read it anymore.
Yeah.
Just fuck off.
Yeah.
Write your own opinion piece. Who gives a shit what you think? Nobody.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't care what they post. I don't care at all what any article, magazine wants to post in their opinion piece. Like, if I strongly disagree with it, I'll be like, well, they're allowing that filth on. They're a joke. I just won't read them anymore. Mm-hmm. Or I'll just be like, that's pretty funny, or whatever your response is. You can say it, but nobody cares at all about what you think.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the entitlement attitude of the top tier of social justice warrior thing, that they think that their issues are really way important, and like people should bow down to these things, and like that's just not the reality of how the world's going to work in real life. Like no one really cares at the end of the day. Only you care, and that should be good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of, I've thought about that in general, just like, your point about the real world. I've thought about that quite a bit. I mean, a lot of the things that we get all up in arms about, or maybe I should say just social justice warriors in general, or even people on the right as well, they get so upset about stuff. And they are incredibly vocal, but they tend to be obviously a minority, because you talk to people in general and they're typically just like, yeah, I think that too, or yeah, that's kind of a good point, just real chill about everything. They might have opinions and they might feel even strongly about them, but they don't go nuts over it. But a lot of things really come down to like power. I mean, it's like, what is the real world? Like, okay, let's say we were to restructure everything and have everything be be exactly how even the most extreme of social justice warriors want things. Ultimately, things fall back into place. Not saying exactly how they are now, but they fall back into place based on power. People who I hate to say it, but people who are manipulative, people who are have a lack of conscience, people who are charismatic, people who are strong, people, all these different traits that are actually impactful for getting people into powerful positions, they will end up again in those powerful positions. And it doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter what you do, anything like that.
Yeah.
So just these like super vocal people that go to these extremes and are just like, cancel this, cancel that. It's like, okay, but you realize like someone else, like Wall Street Journal dissolves, let's just say it dissolved because of that. Like somebody else is going to create some, like eventually we get
more
so
extreme
much
reaction.
Totally, absolutely.
To that cancellation.
Exactly. You're going to have a reaction to the reaction. It's just going to, it keeps happening. I mean, you get these kind of micro adjustments, and I'm really happy about those, like the adjustments to like make things more fair, more equal, or equity, whatever it might be, like that's fine. But like having these extreme reactions on this one thing, and then thinking that that's just like, we did it, it's
and
over
the next
now.
day you move to something else that you're screaming about.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's just talk is cheap. That's all it is.
It is. And also those people get so tiresome. Like even within their own group, like eventually it's just this echo chamber, and you just like, God, like there's other things in life that I want to enjoy. And you start to like think like, shit, my whole life is revolving around finding things that I don't agree with and trying to cancel
calling them out. Yeah.
I imagine the amount of stress and anguish these people must feel all the time.
They're just looking for negativity on a daily basis.
Oh, totally.
If looking for confrontation.
If they found our podcast,
it'd be wrecked. This one alone, this episode alone.
Oh, totally.
But it's just like, if you don't comply 100% blindly with certain ideologies, you're done. There can be no questions. There can be no conversations.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah.
And that's never something that I will ever subscribe to or agree with in any form, no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on. That's just complete lunacy and irrationality to the highest order.
So just to wrap this up, I will let Kyle do all the apologies for our podcast.
Yes, I'll be releasing one tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time.
I would like to apologize for our insensitive remarks.
On Hanukkah, on Christmas, especially on Kwanzaa.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I had a really strange encounter in the gym this morning. I was in the gym.
You were wearing a mask. Go on.
I was. And I was the only one in there. And then this person came in, and they immediately started talking to me. And they were talking about happy Thankmas Hashtag Happy Thankmas. And
they knew you or they did not know you?
Never seen this person in my life before, but they were just talking to me, and I don't know exactly how to say this. They
say what your heart would
if I talk the way that sometimes
left?
I do. No. It wasn't that. They were they clearly had some. They were
maybe I'll say
they were slightly abnormal in
appearance or mental fortitude.
Yes, mental fortitude, as in they were an interesting person. Definitely not what you would typically experience in day-to-day life.
Okay.
But a flavorful individual.
They would have been diagnosed with something by
yes,
a doctor.
Definitely. Yes.
Not Dr. Jill, but
no, of course not. She's not a doctor. No.
And this person should or should not have been by themselves.
It's really tough for me to say. I honestly don't know, but
Were you scared for your life?
Okay, I was not scared for my life because I am a 6'6" man, and this person was like 5'4" and really skinny. And
was this a homeless person?
It's not a physical threat. No. They actually, I think they live in my apartment because I was in my apartment gym.
Good Lord.
Yeah. As you can tell, I'm trying to be extremely delicate about this because I have no idea what the correct terminology is. Like if I can call things out the way that I think that they are, but whatever. The point is, like,
would Down syndrome be offensive or too far?
No, it wasn't. I know it wasn't Down syndrome. They were just next to normal. Like they just weren't like you see
on
typical
the spectrum,
people.
one might say.
One could say that, yes. So anyway, this person's talking to me and they're just ranting about all kinds of stuff. I mean, like at points they are legitimately yelling in the gym. I mean, I'm like 4 feet away from this person and they're just yelling. They're not like yelling mean. They're not like yelling at me.
Volume is raised up.
Yeah, they're just yelling and they're asking me the most random questions. And I mean, granted, again, I wasn't scared just because I know that I have control over the situation. But if I were a smaller individual or if I were a smaller individual or if like.
It would be alarming.
Absolutely. Because it was so just strange.
Unnecessary.
It was unnecessary. You could easily say that. But they were talking to me about their favorite band. Then they asked me something about dogs. I don't know. Something dog. They had a tattoo they showed me. They showed me a tattoo
Temple
with
of the Dog.
Numbers. I don't know. It was something dog. I was just trying to get like an accurate reading of what the hell was happening.
Yeah.
And then they asked me, do I use Google? And I said, yes. And then they just screamed, fuck Google and fuck Mark Zuckerberg. And then just started, but that was it. Like just those two quick things, like kind of angrily. And then after that, they were just like 44, 80, 39, 9, 8, 7, 6, dead serious, exactly like that.
Like, whoa.
Like, and they're just like standing there, just going 7, 6,
looking
5,
at you?
4. Yeah. Yeah, I did not know. Like, I did not know if I needed to like close the gap between me and this person,
like,
so I could potentially clock them if they got to 0. 100%. It was a countdown. They started out at like 88, then went down to like 40, then went up to like 57, and then they went 9, 8, 7, 6, all the way down to 0, and then nothing happened. And then they just continued talking with me about like, they're like, do you use Spotify? I'm dead fucking serious. This happened to me.
God.
And
How did this end?
Oh, I mean, I had like a 15-minute conversation because I wanted to work out. Like I am a little bit obsessed in that way. I was in the gym. I was going to do what I had to get done.
And what time is this?
This is at 7 a.m.
Jesus.
We are the only two people in there. And this person,
He had broken out of somewhere.
I don't know. This is by the way, Kyle, this is not a he, this is a gender queer person. So
you're getting there. Sorry.
No. I'm just letting you know. They told me that they were gender queer. So I was just like, okay,
So
all right.
refer to me in these pronouns.
No, they didn't even say that. They just said
be a
gender queer.
problem.
And then they were telling me this story about one of the security guards here had added them on Instagram, and they thought it was completely inappropriate, and then they were like, I was talking to the security guard and I accidentally let it slip my Instagram handle, and then they said it to me like 3 times, and they were like, and then he added me on this Instagram handle, and I found that so unacceptable. And then she handed me, I'm sorry, they handed me a card which said the name of the person who is the manager of our building. Not this person, just a business card of the person who is the manager here.
Stalking.
And then
this
gave
person.
gave me another one like 7 minutes into our conversation. Then at the end of our conversation, gave me another one. Identical cards. Just 3 identical cards.
Oh, no.
It was... I've never had an encounter like this in my life.
How did it get resolved? Did they leave eventually, or what happened?
No. I left. They were on the lap pull. They were on the lap pull down machine.
No, how are they working out?
not with great form. They were just pointing out like different weights. Like they were saying the number on the weights, like 85. Then 55,
15, 35, 45,
yeah,
40,
just
30,
doing that.
40,
Then they would
40.
do like 2 reps, and then they would just get up and just start like walking around, like talking to themselves. And then they got on the Peloton machine, and then they were like, username. I don't have a username. Password. I do not know what the password is.
Oh no.
I was truly that entire time.
It seemed like they were like different people within the same conversation. Was this maybe a schizophrenia?
Well, I genuinely don't know. I mean, they clearly it's not like they use different voices or anything. Like they were the same person, but they definitely seem to forget that they had spoken to me about something. Like at one point they were talking to me about the NFL, the Ravens, about how they were a Ravens fan. I mean, the conversation just went all over. Oh, they got thrown off because my headphones, there was a light that was going off. So they were like, are your headphones
Zoned
on?
in on that.
Yeah. Why is there a light on your headphones? Because they're wireless. And I was like, they're on. And they're like,
That's
oh,
not
okay.
supposed to happen.
They're like, oh, okay. That's okay. And then they told me, hey, make sure you wipe the equipment down. And I was like, okay. I mean, I always do. And they're like, oh, okay, good. And then they took their headphones, which were to an iPhone, like the white iPhone headphones.
Oh yeah.
Not the like really expensive, like the
Buds.
cabled ones. Yeah. And they were like, I don't like these headphones anymore, and took them and threw them in the trash. And then said, I'm going to get new headphones. And then they said, it's my birthday tomorrow. And then they said,
will you get me headphones?
It's my friend's birthday today. And I'm hoping that I can see them at some point soon. And then like 10 minutes later, they grabbed their headphones again out of the trash. And they're like, I have changed my mind. I will be using these again. I'll tell you. I mean,
the circuitry was definitely off.
Yeah, it It was
not
incredibly
connected.
strange. I'm genuinely not trying to make fun of the situation. Like I tried to I answered
Yeah,
like questions and I was like having a conversation with this person and whatnot. But I'm telling you, like if
it
anyone
was
else,
tough.
if anyone else had been there, like at one point a girl actually came in, um,
It just
and
bounced
and
immediately.
was just like started running, and this person was like sort of like yelling at them, like, "How are you?" you know, like that. And this person, like the girl, just like briefly looked at this person and then just like kept running. And yeah, it was that
That
was
is
one of the
bizarre.
weirdest human encounters I have ever had in my life. Um,
Man, I really wish we knew what the diagnosis was.
yeah, yeah. I honestly don't care. I think this person was like nice enough, like really nice and whatnot. They did inspect, like after I cleaned my equipment, they like inspected my equipment that I'd used, and then they like approved it. They're like, okay, it's good, you know.
Wow. Just like had to narrate every thought, kind of.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, that's a good way because they and then they kept saying hashtag happy thankmas or whatever, and they said that like 10 times, like hashtag happy thanksmas, and they said you need to get on Twitter, you need to hashtag happy thankmas, and just I mean, I'm telling you, the conversation just went all over the place. We talked about
Yeah.
all kinds of just random things. I'm talking like within like 2 or 3 sentences on a subject, and then like completely switching gears and talking about something else for 2 to 3 sentences. It was a strange encounter with another human being.
That is bizarre.
Yeah.
I just, I don't know how I would have handled that. Probably fine, but
I'm
yeah, I don't
sure.
know. It's just, you gotta wonder how, really, what's going on and how did that person escape the area they were in to go to the gym? I don't know. Did they seem like they were able to function like on their own, or would they have needed like somebody probably, or
No, I mean physically we're just perfectly fine.
hmm,
Um, they told me that it was the second time today that they'd been to the gym, and it was 7 a.m.
all right.
So yeah.
Did that Jocko Willing uh, motivation?
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Well,
oh,
what?
oh, one more thing. They also said that they could tell something about they could tell what people were they could read people's like app interfaces, like the actual application on your phone, when the screen is black. I don't know why they told me
Mm,
that information, but they apparently could. So that was
can do that,
that
huh?
was something.
Wow, that'd be a cool power to have.
Yeah, I would.
Now, they said they were gender queer.
Yeah,
What's the difference between that and gender fluid? Is
you're
there a
asking the
difference?
wrong person. I'll be completely honest. I have no idea. I just try to be as like when I talk, they people tell
Yeah,
me, how they want to be identified. I say that. That's all I know.
yeah.
I just try to be as polite as
Are you
possible.
finding more and more people are saying stuff like that?
Oh,
As
I
far as like, hey, I'd prefer to be identified by, you know.
definitely. Yeah, yeah. I have I can think of at least 1 or 2 people that are uh, either like non-binary or queer or um, yeah, just not I guess I don't want to say traditional, but like the things that people have gotten used to over the last like 10 years, which is like like bi, gay, um, heterosexual, obviously. Like I mean, there's
Cis.
others, yeah, cis. There's like other terms that people are using to describe themselves, which
comes out every day, pretty much.
I've met a decent amount of people that feel that way for themselves, and like I said, all I do is just like, okay, got it. How would you, if they don't say it, like I'm just like, how do you want me to? What are your pronouns?
How do I refer to thou?
And yeah, that's about it. You're not going to see the red in my eyes until people start telling me that they, like the conversation we were having earlier, where the anti-science.
Yeah, if it's for you, that's fine.
Yeah,
but don't get off my science lawn.
that's a good way to put it. Yeah. So anyway, that's something that happened to me this morning. I had a long day.
Wow.
And that's how it started.
That's how it kicked off.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I didn't have an eventful morning like that.
I don't know if I really wonder, like in those situations, I genuinely, because I mean, I was like feeling kind of off. I was feeling kind of like, well, how do I handle this situation? Like, is this person going to hurt me, or try to hurt me? Are they going to like disrupt my workout?
Try to make a move on me.
Sure, yeah. Are they going to just continue talking with me? Are they getting agitated by the fact that I'm there? Like, it's just like all these different things that you kind of think about as you're kind of adapting to the situation. And I do genuinely, I often think about like how people that aren't, well, I mean, if I'm honest, women, like if I think about like women in those kinds of situations, like where you don't have that level of like, oh, I'm a guy, therefore I can just like overpower the situation. Like you always kind of have that as a man. I mean, depending, but like for the most part, that's generally true for men. And women, some women have that ability, and most women don't. And I do think about that from time to time. Like I was genuinely thinking in that moment, like, should I stay? Should I somehow communicate? Because this girl came in and was running, and clearly like they kept like looking over at this person, and just seemed like really thrown off. Like, I don't know what to do. They never said anything. They just never acknowledged that person. So I was thinking in my head, like, I mean, should I stay? Should I like have a conversation with this girl just to like I don't know. It's like so many different factors. Like, I'm a 6'6" muscle dude, and I like, does a girl want to feel any more comfortable with me in the room? Right. Yeah. The second thing is, can I offer any level of comfort? Maybe not, probably not, just because I'm there. And thirdly, I was also like, this person genuinely didn't seem violent in any way. They were just very sporadic in like all kinds of different thoughts, and their vocalizations were just all over the place. So like but it's definitely something I consider. It's just such a strange thing to experience as who I am, but also it's a strange thing to experience, I imagine, for people that aren't necessarily in the position that I'm in that situation. It's
I mean, as a guy, I feel like I have a lot of times where I encountered new situations, and I'm like, just in the back of your mind, you're like, what if I had to fight my way out of here? Like, it never happens really, but you want to have an exit strategy that is like, that could end in violence. I don't know what that is. Like, why my mind goes there. Like, I'm not always looking for violence, but I'll meet you halfway.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's what I'm
No.
talking about. That exact thought process. Like, you know, in the very back of your mind, like if you have to, if there was a violent encounter, you would at least have a fighting chance, you
Yeah.
know, at the very least. If not, you feel pretty comfortable. You'd come out the other end perfectly fine. But it's not at all that you're thinking, oh, I need to fight, you know, like I
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
get into a fight or anything like that. It's nothing like that.
Yeah. 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 You're never looking for a fight, but sometimes your mind will wander and you're like, I could use that as like a weapon and just like bash this guy and then like smash a window or like I don't
Yeah.
know, it's just randomly certain like instruments around you become weapons.
Yeah.
And like, man, if a dog like now I think like if a dog chases me, like I grab that rock, I just smash him in the head and like and it's like I create all these scenario, like especially with like because I've been going on longer runs now, and
Mhm.
sometimes I'll be running for like 5 minutes at a time, like deep into a run, and I'm just like I was completely gone in a
Yes.
scenario that I created in my head
Yes.
that hasn't even happened,
Yeah.
never happened before, but I got so mad
Yeah.
and like I was like ready to die, like I was ready to just go all out and just like leave it all out on the court,
Yeah.
whether it's like a scenario where I'm like playing a sport or if it's like somebody that like cut me off or like said something about somebody and I'm just like lighting this person up in my mind and like finding ways to like how I could really destroy someone violently, and then I'm just like, what in the world is going on?
Yeah. I know
And
exactly what you mean.
I don't know. It's just like, why do I? And I'm physically like way more like upset, and I'm just like, how did I just make myself like that over
Yeah.
nothing?
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's literally you just your imagination just goes off and then your body's like, okay, that is possible. Fuck this. Ooh.
Yeah, seriously. I don't know why. I don't know why. But I imagine it has to do something of being a guy. I don't know. That might be
Yeah.
sexist in saying that, but
I had this conversation actually, somewhat similar conversation about like, is it because you're a guy? And because I've actually asked women if they have similar reactions, because I'm genuinely extremely curious on the differences. Obviously, there are differences between men and women. Don't you fucking tell me
how
there
dare
aren't
you?
people. And one of the big differences is obviously this huge hormonal gap between like men have way more testosterone and women tend to have more estrogen. And testosterone has been linked. I looked this up actually relatively recently. Is definitely linked to higher levels of aggression. That and men, it's not like men have double the amount of testosterone. Like they have
Yeah.
20 times the amount of testosterone. So when it comes to conversations like that, I am just absolutely fascinated by this idea that men are supposed to react the same way to situations that women are. Like women can sometimes like handle a certain situation like really well. And then people think like, well, why can't a guy react the same way? Like, why do they have to like always go to anger? And like women, of course, I'm massively generalizing here, but my experience is that like while women can get angry, it's a whole stratosphere lower in terms of like it's just like all room encompassing level of anger that men can have. And I really wonder if that level of aggression or that level of anger or that like tightness that you feel is largely dictated by this massive increase in this hormone that is very much designed for anabolism, muscle mass, making sure that you're high performing, making sure, and is, of course, linked to anger as well, and aggression. overall.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying that if you just inject testosterone, suddenly people get angry, but the hormone that is there potentially as a player to get us ready for like a fight or some sort of confrontation and whatnot. And the difference there between men and women is just incredibly fascinating to me, because I really wonder if men just sometimes have extreme difficulty handling their emotions.
First of all, what difference?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Go on.
But just this having that level of hormone in your body is something that essentially what I'm saying, it boils down to nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about this difference between men and women.
That's what we talk about on here.
Yeah,
hard subjects.
That's what we talk about. Yeah, the hard subjects. Man, like that level of testosterone 20 times. I mean, imagine. It's
got to play a role.
It's got to play a role, exactly. Like it just has to. Oh, it's stunning to me.
It's just, I just can't. I just never heard a female, say a familiar thing like that I've said about the many times where I've gotten worked up over things in an angry way that haven't even happened. Not that women don't do that or it's never happened before, but it's like anger is not maybe a motivator like it can be for men. I don't know if that makes sense, but Joe Rogan talked about it a lot when he works out. He imagines like someone coming in and like trying to capture his family and stuff. And it inspires him to work out like an absolute animal. Yeah. I'm not sure that that's like maybe the healthiest thing to do mentally, but I think men have an easier time of actually going to those places than women do because of probably testosterone.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's a good thing. I mean, I'm not saying that's good. I'm just saying it is what it is.
It is what it is, and it's also something that needs to be recognized, that we can't just look at one way of dealing with things and just saying, oh, well, why aren't you more this way? Mm-hmm. Motherfucker, I got 20 times more of this fucking hormone that's trying to get me to just kill.
Yeah. Like I recognize that I can be irrational and angry a lot, but you also have to recognize that there's probably a reason for that it happens more than you do. Yeah. And like, as long as we recognize that is, the reality of my makeup, then, maybe there'll be a little bit more understanding.
Yeah. Yeah.
But until then, get back in the kitchen.
I would like to apologize for Kyle Hatley's comments.
I'm totally kidding, of course. I'm just joking. That was testosterone. That was an example of when it takes over in a bad way. That was not nice. I put myself on notice. I'm sorry.
Oh shit.
But, yeah. Gotta transition with some comedic relief there.
Yeah.
Comedy's not a crime, folks.
Not yet.
Not yet. Soon. Very soon.
Oh man. So yeah, it's something that just people I've just never heard that conversation. It just seems like such a simple conversation to have.
Yeah.
Like, maybe we should investigate some of our innate biological differences and say, maybe some of that has to do with some differences in like how we see things or how we react to things. Of course, it's not in any way like excusing like violent behavior or anything like that. Because of course, like you also still have control over it, but it's just just when you're explaining that, like going on a run, just forgetting yourself for 5 minutes,
gone.
You're just gone. Like, you don't even realize what you're doing anymore. You're just like a robot, and your brain is just like, what if this were to happen? This is how you would react, motherfucker. And then what if this were to happen? You would become a
100%.
god.
Yeah. It builds off of everything until like something startles you and you're just like, wow, like
Yeah.
I cannot believe what I was just doing. And like you're genuinely mad
Yeah.
about nothing. So I don't know. It's just wild. It's very wild.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, I don't have the statistics in front of me, but I would imagine that, well, I'm pretty much 100% certain that men, commit way more violent acts than women on an annual basis in every country.
That's just because men are inferior, though.
They just don't know how to express their anger.
Yeah, it's just because it has nothing to do with any sort of biological innate differences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I could just be a woman now because it's the same.
Yeah.
I just have to control. I just have to look. Well, when I become a woman, then I will be able to control everything better because that is now my new identity.
Your new state. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's and that's what it is. And you can't tell me otherwise.
Okay. Well, in that case, I respect it.
Thank you. That's all I was looking for. And a retweet, please.
And a retweet. And I'm going to be watching you like a hawk.
All those microaggressions that you do, yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to get away with that any longer. Okay. Thanks.
Oh, man. Fuck.
Joke alert, folks. It was another joke.
We need like a sign or something.
Yeah. Joke in progress.
Hashtag joke. Oh, man. Joke alert. That's good. Yeah. Actually, with this program, we can have little things that pop up. We could have we could legitimately, I could create like an animation that says joke alert.
Incoming joke.
Incoming joke. I might just as well have it on
Turn
the whole
the volume
time.
off. Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Well, anyway, that's what I had to cover. Some strange experience in my life, and then you talking about testosterone, or more like you talking about that experience while running. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the important things in life.
Mm-hmm.
I did see just as a documentary recommendation for any listeners out there interested in music.
Nope, never mind.
There's a musical history. There's a documentary about the Bee Gees. Nick's favorite band, the Bee Gees. On HBO. And I'm joking about being his favorite band, but I never really cared for the Bee Gees before. And it's not like I love them now, but I didn't really know a lot about them. And it really opened my eyes to that whole era in music in the 70s, when like disco was kind of huge, and how they were labeled like just strictly a disco band, and kind of how that was not really what they were. And when they started, they were like kind of more like the Beatles. Like everybody wanted to be the Beatles around that time, that the Beatles were famous in the 60s. And it was three brothers, the Bee Gees, and just really good at harmonizing. And they had like very high-pitched voice, and wrote a ton of amazing songs that, not all of them they performed. They actually gave a lot to other famous musicians, and it's kind of interesting to learn about that too. And they were actually they had the biggest selling album of all time for like a few years, I feel. Well, probably more than that. It was like the Saturday Night Fever album.
Yeah.
And they had like 5 or 6 huge #1 hits on that one album. And yeah, they were just on top of the world forever. And there was a lot of like family sort of tragedy woven in as well. But yeah, a lot of people were on the documentary, like Justin Timberlake and Noel Gallagher from Oasis, because he was talking about like, you know, having a brother, like being able to be in a band with a family member. It's like a whole different instrument that you can use.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just very eye opening because I had a very one dimensional view of who the Bee Gees were, just as kind of a more disco, like cornier, like sound, because there's that whole movement like disco sucks and all. They talked about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a cool documentary. It definitely
What's it on? Netflix?
HBO.
HBO, okay. Yeah. I'm too poor for that. Is it on HBO Max?
I don't know. I think it's on any HBO.
Okay. I have actually been thinking about potentially getting HBO Max because Godzilla's opening or is going to be on HBO. It's the new Godzilla films, like in terms of their quality, is pretty shitty, but the special effects and the fight scenes are absolutely epic. So yeah. Anyway,
is
that's
there a new Godzilla coming out?
Yeah, there's a third one. Godzilla versus King Kong. That's a classic being redone. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, if I get HBO Max, I'd love to check that out. That'd be really interesting. Because like you, I mean, I legitimately think of the Bee Gees as like that one song, and then that's it. That's all I know.
Yeah, it was definitely eye opening. I mean, very talented guys, incredible songwriters, and yeah, just something new.
Who did they write songs for? You mentioned that they wrote a lot of famous songs.
Yeah, like Dolly Parton, Barbara Streisand.
Wow.
Let's see. I can't remember, but it goes through like, because toward the end of their career, they're just like the radio wouldn't play them anymore because people were just like, disco's just done, and you guys are dead. Disco, and they're like, all right, well, we'll find another way.
Yeah.
To get on the radio, and it's through other people singing their songs.
That's crazy.
So it's like F you kind of.
That's crazy, yeah.
But fun little look at that time period.
Okay, yeah, I'll check it. Well, hopefully I'll be able to check it out. What's it called? Do you know?
I don't know. Let's see.
Hold on, folks, as we look this up.
It is called The Bee Gees. The Bee Gees, Mend a Broken Heart is what it's called.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Yep.
Well,
With that, I have nothing more.
I have one more bit of news.
Yeah.
Baltimore is supposed to get hit with 16 inches of snow tomorrow.
Oh my God.
If that's going to happen or not is questionable. The range that they gave was 2 to 16 inches. Like that's when weathermen and weather women and weather people have been and weather sirs have been just beaten up so much over the years for getting wrong forecasts that they're like, fuck it, 2 to like 100 inches.
Yeah, it's at least going to be 2 inches, right? But it could be 30 feet. So we give them a wide range.
We can't be wrong then.
Yeah, they can't say we're wrong. They can't make mean jokes about me. On the online.
Yeah. On the online.
It's supposed to rain here tomorrow and be like in the 30s, so That'll be miserable as well.
Yeah, sounds like it. All right, well, there's our weather forecast. Baltimore and I guess where
Hey,
are you,
but
Durham?
Baltimore, maybe one of the games of the year last night.
Oh, yeah. That was nuts. That was crazy. Although,
Right down to the end.
right down to the end, that was, I mean, Justin Tucker with the amazing kick at the end.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
like, as much as I love watching Lamar Jackson play, and even Baker Mayfield was so much fun to watch play, um,
Mm-hmm.
it's becoming more and more irritating for me to watch Lamar play because of the fact that he just doesn't seem to throw the ball. Like, I love seeing him just run, but
Mm-hmm.
he would be so much better if he just worked on passing, like
I know.
exclusively worked on passing. And he just
Because
doesn't.
if there's like he like goes back for a legit passing play and he looks around for like the guy it's supposed to go to. If that's not there, he barely looks at other people and it's like, I'm running. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not going to try to fit it in a tight area or like just go for the play regardless of what it looks like as I'm throwing it.
yeah,
Like, I feel like a lot of people that just stay in the pocket, like, they're like, we're going to just die with this thing. And
yeah,
like,
yeah.
sometimes it works really well, like,
Sure.
because it's just, you got to let the play finish. And I feel like he's just like, all right, I just want to run. Like, if it's maybe not even looking that good, I'm running.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And
And
he always can get out of a situation. But I was just like, the whole first half, I was like, get this man some new cleats now. He was sliding
all
everywhere.
over. Yeah.
And I'm just like, you don't have another pair of cleats you can give him? Like until the second half, in the second half, he came out with new cleats.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, there is no excuse for that in the
No.
NFL at all
No.
to not have that ready and just like change right now,
Yeah.
like on the next possession. But either way, he got it done. He had almost like 200 yards rushing.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Like 90 yards passing or something like that. That's what's so
Yeah,
frustrating about him.
I
He's
know.
they are not ever going to go to the Super Bowl unless he just stops. Because at a certain point, he's not going to be able to run anymore, and
Yeah,
they are
and they
going to
have
get destroyed because
and
of
they
that.
have great receivers
They
and
do.
an amazing tight end,
They do.
really good tight end. And I don't know, and he can throw it a mile. Like it's
Yeah.
not a
Yep.
problem of him being able to throw it hard or long. It's just like maybe accuracy or just confidence and
Mm-hmm.
making the right calls or hanging in the pocket a little bit longer rather than just being like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, it works now, but it's not always going to work.
No. No, it's not. But that was truly a fantastic game. Oh my
Oh
God.
my God,
Like.
yeah. Both teams are great. I mean, Baltimore really needed to win that game badly
Mm-hmm.
to stay in the playoff run.
Yeah.
But Cleveland, yeah, they're definitely like not a joke team now.
No. No. Definitely not.
It's funny how that corresponds with Odell getting hurt, but I think you pretty much see he's not needed.
No.
But but yeah, they're looking really good. Their duo running back situation is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like Nick Chubb a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah, Packers are doing well. Still not a fan, but Packers are doing well. In the NBA, Giannis just signed a supermax deal
Oh
with the
yeah.
Milwaukee Bucks, which is a surprise because everybody thought he was going to go somewhere else. So that's
What
breaking
about
news.
James Harden? Is he still
He's
trying to
still with
leave?
Houston. I think he is still trying to leave, but he's still in Houston for the time being. He's going to start practicing, I think. Um, yeah, I guess he got John Wall. I mean, they're not going anywhere. They're not going to be any
No,
better.
I mean, good job. Yeah,
Yeah,
Russell Westbrook's better than him,
yeah,
I think. I mean,
yeah,
because of his injuries and stuff.
mm,
John Wall.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, who knows?
It'll be a good season, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
A
Well.
lot of a lot of teams made a lot of moves, so that's interesting. But somehow the Lakers got better. Somehow they got that um, Marc Gasol, and they got
Mhm.
Schroeder, and I feel like
Yeah.
they got somebody else too.
They did. I can't
Oh, they got the
remember.
guy from the Clippers, Montrezl
Clippers.
Harrell,
Yeah. Montrezl
who
Harrell.
was the
That's right.
sixth man of the year
Yeah.
last year.
Right. Yeah.
It's like we just got rid of Dwight Howard and Danny Green, and it's like, wow, we didn't need those those gentlemen anyway.
That's gentlemen. It's a tame way to put it.
Yeah. So that's annoying.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm switching back to the NFL. I'm definitely hoping the Buccaneers make it to the playoffs.
Why is that?
I just like to see what happens with Tampa Bay and and whoever they end up facing. That'd be really interesting. Especially with the Saints just losing to the Philadelphia Eagles, which was pretty stunning.
Yeah, never would have predicted that, but I guess that guy Taysom Hill is not really maybe what people thought he would be.
No.
It's just wild that they don't play Jameis Winston. I mean, not that he's going to be the savior, but
Dude,
I don't know.
I lost faith in him before he even went in the NFL. I still distinctly remember the interview that he gave after one of his games.
At Florida State?
Yeah. I mean, that dude has an IQ of 20.
He's illiterate. Yeah.
I mean, he is so dumb.
Yeah.
And
that's
I know,
probably, I mean,
I
that
know I
was with
sound
like
so mean right now, but like,
it's
he is
true.
legitimate. Like,
It's
I
true,
heard him
and no one
talk.
says it.
The interview asked him a question. He was like, and then we did like it was like, look like we did, we was like, yeah, that was it. Didn't say anything other than that. It was just like he started saying, just stopped.
Yeah.
And then started saying it again, stopped. And then
put
he
a
just said,
sentence
yeah. And then he just like smiled.
He couldn't put a sentence together.
No.
Yeah, he incredible talent, but I don't know. The same thing with Vince Young. Like he won the Heisman and like won the national championship with Texas, and then got into the pros, and it was just like he just died because he didn't know how to. He didn't. I don't know. He didn't do the film work that like it takes to be an NFL quarterback, of like reading all these different defenses, audibling and calling certain plays for yourself. And I don't know, they were just like, I remember one coach that had him on his team, like they give them all the rookies a like a test, like an entry level, I don't know if it's an IQ similar sort of test, but he's like, I'd never seen anybody do so badly on that test. And then we were kind of like, is this going to really make a difference or not? And they kind of were like, yeah, I guess it kind of did in our case.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's definitely a correlation there between, being able to read a defense and having success, because you look at the Super Bowl quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls in recent time, and the type of offense that is, and just the overall type of team it is. It's just like they're known for just being like ultimate nerds of planning, basically, like Bill Belichick, the Patriots. I mean, that's just like did nothing but research on every end, come up with all these different solutions, and I don't know. Defense wins championships, though.
Yeah. Although, admittedly, when I watch football, I prefer to watch the defense. I find defense way more interesting than offense when it comes to actually watching the tactics and strategies that people use. Using like nickel or dime or like a 4-3 or whatever it might be. Like I find that stuff really, really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally like a chess match when you
It
really
is, yeah.
start to kind of look at how it's going on,
Hmm.
calling the plays and when you can execute those plays and you see like a direct correlation of a particular formation result in a turnover. That's
Hmm.
pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it totally is.
Like
That's a
that
good way
guy
to
on the
put it.
Ravens has like 9 takeaways this year. Like I can't remember his name, but he has like 9 punch outs where
Hmm.
like he'll get the perfect positioning on a receiver. Like he says that he studies every single offensive player that he's about to play, how they carry the ball, because he'll look at their tendencies in different situations, like if they catch a screen or if they catch a particular route, how do they then bring the ball down and run with it? And he's like, it's harder with running backs because they already have it really secure, but with and he did it like twice last night where he just punched the ball and it like came loose. And like, I think the Browns luckily got it both times, but
Hmm.
they're like, yeah, he's done that 9 times already this
Yeah,
season.
yeah,
And it's like, man, that's really something that, where film actually pays off.
totally. Yeah.
It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah. You imagine having that gift. That's your gift. You just see the ball. You just
Yeah.
punch it.
It
You
like
just,
slows down for him and he just like nails it out.
yeah.
He's probably rocked so many people like just in the side because he missed it. They're like, what the hell?
Give him kidney failure.
Because it is literally just like you're swinging like a body punch as hard
Yeah.
as you can.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
That's good. Oh. All right. Well, I got to head off. But this was an interesting episode. We covered a lot of ground.
Yes, we did. A lot of ground covered. Might be canceled after this one, folks.
We've said that a few times.
Might be dropped by our biggest sponsor, Bagel Bites. They're woke now. Oh man.
Oh,
Remember
man.
Bagel Bites?
Oh, yeah. I remember Bagel Bites. I remember them specifically on video game days.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yeah,
Trays of Bagel Bites.
for sure. Yeah. All right, folks. It was a pleasure entertaining you for an hour and a half. A bit delayed. My fault. I apologize. And we'll catch you next time.
See you later.
See ya.